right, welcome to another episode of the Scott Verplank Show. The Scott Verplank Show is sponsored by MidFirst Bank, Next Gen Roofing, Oklahoma Ford Dealers Association, Great Plains Bank, and the EMAC Group. Today I'm joined by Davis Love III, longtime friend and colleague. Good morning, Davis Love III. Thank you so much for getting on my podcast. We've tried a couple times, and I think we got it set this time. So, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad we finally got it to work out. Between two guys, we finally figured out the technology.
I know how I am with technology, and I'm only assuming you know how I am too. Man, we have so much stuff we could talk about. We have been friends for, I believe, 45 years, kind of friends, competitors. I think the first junior tournament we played in against each other, I think when we met, maybe 14, I was 14 or 15. Sound about right?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was an AJGA event in Atlanta, Horseshoe Bend. I think that was it. Yeah, so fortunately for me.
Bob Tway was the older guy we were chasing.
Yeah, and we were probably in the younger division. I don't remember, but so I've been fortunate enough to know you all that time and been able to call you a friend. And man, what a career you've had, and what a golf life that we've had together. Getting to play all this golf on the tour and around the world, and I'm so thankful for it. I'm sure you have great memories of all of your golf, but do you have one particular tournament? Was winning the PGA in '98 the ultimate for you?
Yeah, I'd say on a personal.
Was it '98?
97 on a personal level. Yeah, that would be the highlight of my career. Obviously, as more and more of the young kids that I've been around, like Justin Thomas, that I've known since he was 14 years old, or Scotty Scheffler, that I've known since he was probably 19 years old, when they win the Players Championship, I get them to call it a major, so then I can count 2 old Players Championships. But certainly the PGA is the biggest on a personal level. But then I say all the time, if you said, give me your top 10 moments in golf in your career, 8 of them probably, maybe 7, if you throw in 2 Players Championships and a major, are going to be something around a team competition. You and I played in the '85 Walker Cup. That was my first experience, obviously, in big time team competition. Obviously, you and JC were our team leaders, and we watched you guys finish it off. But just to be on a team like that made me want to be on the Ryder Cup team. And then as you and I got into the tour, they came up with the President's Cup. I wanted to be on the President's Cup team, and to be a part of that for so long. Most of my great golf memories or stories are going to be about the 12 Ryder Cup team where you and I were helping them try to win in Medina, or the 16 Ryder Cup team when they were winning at Hazeltine, or on down the road. Just the team stuff has become more and more important to me over the years.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. At Oklahoma State, obviously we had a really good team, and we won 1 national championship while I was there. And winning with your friends, as great as winning individually is, winning with your friends is even more fun. And that's kind of what the Ryder Cup, President's Cup kind of evolved to. You got basically your 11 best friends there with you, at least for that week. And man, I'd say it's intense, but it's intensely fun to go out and play for your buddies and to play for your country.
There's more pressure, obviously. The last 9 holes of the Masters or of the U.S. Open is a lot of pressure, but the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup starts from day one, because you're standing there with your partner, with your captains watching, and all these people cheering for you. It's a different feeling. And you're right, it's hanging out with your friends. That's the best part about it. And, we get criticized when we lose Ryder Cups, or we get questioned that the team doesn't come together sometimes, or that there's internal conflicts and all that. There's nothing farther from the truth. Team USA golf is just incredible place right now. You look at Team USA basketball now leading up to the Olympics. They said, whoa, wait a minute. We don't like losing. Everybody's going this time. We're going to get into it. That's the way our team's been since 2014, 2015 is we're all in. We had Brooks, obviously a lot of controversy around Brooks leading up to last year's Ryder Cup. He was a team leader. He was picked for that team by the players. He was accepted by the players, and they all had fun. Our practice round trip with Brooks was awesome. Brooks came up with a team building thing that we did during the Ryder Cup that, it wasn't anybody else's idea but Brooks's, and everybody got along great. Now, they lost, but it wasn't because we didn't get along or have fun. It was probably because we didn't play any tournaments leading up to it, and probably because a bunch of guys got sick. All the golf excuses. But anyway, we love the team competition. I'm excited for Montreal for the President's Cup for Jim Furyk, and then whoever's captain at Bethpage is going to get an ultimate home game for the Ryder Cup. So it's been a big focus of mine for a long time, and hopefully now my time is done as an assistant captain, and I can sit back and watch them.
Yeah, I would. You brought up the next one coming up at Bethpage. I would certainly think that's going to be an enormous home field advantage. With you and I both know how the New York fans are, particularly at Bethpage. They don't hold anything back.
U.S. Open there that we played wasn't even raising the U.S. flag, and it was kind of ugly for some of the players. So hopefully a guy named Woods is the captain and goes in there with a good home field advantage. And then obviously we got to win one away is the next big thing on the Ryder Cup checklist. But again, hopefully that's passed on to the next generation of, Stuart Sink and Zach Johnson and Webb Simpson, and they can take over and we can watch.
Yeah, well, of course that day's coming. I think you just turned 60. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've hit 60, and as I told my mom for a lot of years, the older you get, the easier it is to shoot your age. So maybe I have a few more years. But Freddie just shot, I guess a little over a year ago, shot 64. So hopefully I got a low round in me coming soon.
Well, you got to get through all these injuries. That's you and I. We're having a race to see who has the most injuries and the most surgeries, unfortunately. But I know you just had a little hand surgery done, and hope that's going to heal up for you so we can get out and play some more golf together. Yeah,
hopefully this fall we're both back healthy and playing some on the tour. We're both looking at each other on the driving range going, what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
I had that conversation the last tournament I was playing with Steve Stricker and Justin Leonard. We're like, oh my gosh, Justin's a young guy, and why are we banging our heads against the wall? But I keep having surgeries so I can hopefully get one good season where I'm not hurt. So hopefully it might not even be next year. I've got a thumb surgery right now, and I'm facing another one on my other hand. So, but you and I both, we love competing. You were talking about how banged up you were in the last tournament you played. You had some good rounds. So hopefully we still got a little bit left in us.
Well, you said it right. I kind of am trying to shoot for just let me have one full season where I don't have to worry about anything but getting my ball in the hole. I would love to do that at least one more time before I completely hang it up. But the end is getting near. I do know that. But hopefully
we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's coming fast.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping it's not a train, but anyway, yes. You can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but hopefully we'll both get a chance to have like one full season where we can actually kind of compete with how we have done our whole lives. So that's a good goal for both of us. We'll stay in touch on that and push each other. Tell me, okay, we were talking about the cup stuff. What do you think how do we win in Europe? Do we put on blinders and earmuffs and just go play golf and forget everything, or I mean, I know we have great talent on our teams, and it's such an anomaly that we haven't won over there in 30 something years.
It's incredible. explaining to some of my family that aren't big golf historians and are a lot younger. I said the last time we won away game in the Ryder Cup was 93, and they went 93. Yeah, I was on the team in 93 the last time.
You made the winning putt, right?
Yeah, I got lucky enough or stuck in the position of getting the last point that day, but even that one was close. So, I think we have to put the sports psychology more to the front and not really the golf. It's more like preparing them for, hey, here's what's going to happen, and here is all the things that could happen on the first day. We could get behind, or we could get ahead, or we just have to be prepared for the mental side of it. We prepared them that really well for the 2016 Ryder Cup, which they hadn't won in years, the Ryder Cup. So even a home game win was important back then. But I think we prepared them really well to have a game plan, a mindset going in. You know, look at Scotty Scheffler right now. He's on a roll, but what does he keep saying? The same things over and over again. He has a plan going into these big tournaments. I was listening to Ludvig Aberg, if I'm saying his name right, who won our RSM tournament last November, who was in college, and then the next thing you know, he was on the Ryder Cup team, and the next thing you know, he's in the top 10 in the world. He talks about a game plan of what his team is working on. So he has 2 or 3 people around him. They have a plan going into the Masters, and they come out second. He doesn't go, I finished second. I had a great week. He said, we. He kept saying we. So anyway, I think our team needs a plan going into Europe, and it needs to be whoever's team sports psychologists all getting together and going, hey, you know, if we lose the momentum, what do? How do we rally? If we get way ahead, how do we keep the momentum going? So those kind of conversations going forward, you know, whoever, Nick Saban doesn't go into playing Georgia and at halftime not be prepared for what he's going to say if they're ahead or behind. So I think we as coaches have to do a little bit more on that side. Plus, like I said in Rome, we had 4 guys get sick. We had caddies sick. We hadn't played a whole lot of golf between the Tour Championship and the Ryder Cup. So those kind of things are just sports that happen. But anyway, we're thinking about it all the time, obviously.
Yeah, I would. You need to. I've been lucky enough to travel with Oklahoma State football some, and you go to if I'm on the sidelines at games and you go to an opposing stadium and it's a huge game, there's nothing better than to hear silence from the opposing crowd. So yeah, I'm kind of like, you know what? We need 12 guys that are dogs, and they understand that nothing's going to bother them, and we are going to play to make this the quietest thing they've ever heard. I mean, and you have to embrace that, you know, and relish it. And know that you're up against the world. And I know we probably do that.
Yeah,
but you've got to be a dog to go to somebody else's house and turn the lights out. That's the ultimate victory in sport, in my opinion.
Right. And the coaches plan for that. They say, hey, we're going to this stadium. Here's the thing. They put up billboard material. You know, that's what we have to do. And, you know, really, we did that for 16. We had 12 strong inside of our hats and inside of our clothes. And we had these themes going in. And Stricker did that for going to Wisconsin. It was just one. We are one team. We are one group. This is 1 week. You know, this team does not have a history. This is just your one chance to play in the Ryder Cup. And, you know, for a lot of these guys, they're only going to play one Ryder Cup. You don't want to tell them that, but this is, and I stressed even back in 16, this team is not, you know, 28 and 30 record. This is a brand new team that has never played together. Yes, let's go in U12 and make this place loud at home and make it quiet away. So, and that's the fun part about it is, you know, you got to get those guys to take some ownership. And there's some guys on the team, you know, like Jordan Spieth, now Justin Thomas, obviously behind the scenes, and as President's Cup captain, Tiger's become a team leader. So we just need those guys to step up. But it's, as you know, it's hard for us as individuals to have honest conversation with 8 or 10 other top players in the world and go, hey, this is what we need to do. A basketball team or a football team, they do that all the time. They're pushing each other. They're supporting each other. They're, hey, let's play some defense. Whatever it is, we just got to get a little bit more. It's just like anything in life, business or your Bible study. The more you communicate and the more you talk, the easier it gets, especially in pressure situations.
100%. So saying all that, so in 27, I don't even know, where is it going to be in 27 in Europe?
Ayr Manor in Ireland.
Okay, well, we need to turn out the lights on the side of our hat.
Yeah.
We want to go to their stadium, and we're the last one standing, so we'll turn the lights out when we leave. That needs to be our motto.
For a year, play ole, 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 so those guys get so sick of it, they don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, no, I got it. Hey, so kind of, first I want to say, Aberg, you brought him up. Man, can he go? And I kind of felt like last week at the Masters, the fact that he got to play a Ryder Cup before he ever played a major was an education that I think no one's ever had before, and it could not have been more valuable because you know how big the stage is as Ryder Cup, and Augusta National and the Masters tournament is the biggest tournament in the world as far as just it is an event, and he looks so comfortable. And he'll be on the other team for quite a while. So you got to be impressed with him. And he did win the RSM tournament, which for those you don't know, that's Davis's tournament on the PGA Tour. RSM is the sponsor that helps the Davis Love III Foundation, which does unbelievably great things. And Davis has raised a lot of money and helped people all over Southeast Georgia and the surrounding community. So Aberg, you gotta like that he's your defending champ.
Well, being a little bit closely tied to the agent manager business because our managers have been here on St. Simons for a long time and take care of a lot of tour players, but they're always recruiting. So I knew not only how good Ludvig was playing in college, but that he was getting recruited by the managers as the next big thing. So when he was in the field, we were excited for the RSM. Then when he played pretty good the first 2 days, we're like, oh, well, he's got a chance. And then he shoots 18 under on the weekend. He just 9 under, 9 under. And he just tore the place apart. And the drives he hit, it was soft. Our courses never really played that easy. But he just stepped up and made, 20 birdies on the weekend and just walked away. The score was kind of close, but he was never really challenged. It was an impressive destruction of a golf course and a pretty good PGA Tour field. So, we knew how good he was. And then the aftermath of it, that I get to be around, the press room or the champion's toast or sending him off to the next place. But you know where he was Monday morning? I go in the gym Monday morning after the tournament. He's in the gym getting a fitness assessment at Sea Island because we have such a great training facility, and he's back to work. And that's what I see in these kids these days is they are relentless. They're in incredible shape. They work incredibly hard, and it's nice to be really tall and really talented and have a good head on your shoulders. So yeah, I'd watch out for him for a long time. Yeah,
that is true. And you're right. I think the game has changed a ton from like an individual perspective of, like you were saying, a team. You have your team, your trainer, your everybody along the way, but it's got to be, it's evolved that way because of the money. The money's gotten so big that if you're not 100% focused on being the best player, if not in the world, the best player that you can be, and that means all the time, you got to eat, drink, and sleep being the best player. And like I said, I think it's because the money's gotten big, and that is causing some problems now at the professional level.
The money's gotten big. Yeah.
I know, well, I was going to say, but I know you're a big part of finding solutions. So can you kind of tell us where you think we're going?
I don't know where we're going. I have a little more inside information than most people because I've been on the board of the tour a lot. I was on a committee most of most of the last year to study
Yeah.
the governance of the tour and to participate a little bit from outside of the board. But the simple answer is, and you and I have talked about this now for years, is we're in a hostile corporate takeover from somebody that is more funded than maybe any hostile corporate takeover ever, right? And we don't really have a solution to fight this battle. Now, I'll give the commissioner and the board credit. They got out of the lawsuit part of it. Okay. That was a great negotiation. We're set up a little bit better now, but those guys that are trying to hostile corporate takeover the PGA Tour still have a lot of ammo, and they're using dollars rather than the courts now to fight us. The whole rumor about Rory McIlroy is coming, I would think, from them, not from Rory or not from, Greg Norman didn't stand on the ropes at the Masters and stare at Rory McIlroy for a week for no reason. He wanted to get a picture. He wanted people to see that he's recruiting Rory McIlroy because they're trying to keep pressure on the PGA Tour to cave in and do a deal with them. And as long as people understand that, and the biggest point about the whole thing about the players is, where are we going with these guys that left? They were pawns or tools in a game of a hostile corporate takeover, and they took the money and they gave our competitor leverage. So in any decision going forward, I just hope everybody remembers that if big name guys don't leave, our competitor can't sue us and doesn't have any leverage. So ultimately, it comes back to Phil Mickelson and the first 17 guys that sued the PGA Tour. They're the ones that caused this problem. Internally, we could have made big changes if everybody worked together. You've seen that since. We made a lot of changes that were required by the top players. Whether they're right or wrong, the players forced them. So anyway, I don't know where we're going, but I know that we're still fighting a battle of control over the future of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, no, I know. And unfortunately, it's the battle for the future of all professional golf. Obviously, the PGA Tour is the biggest league or the biggest tour in the world, and it always has been, and I think it will remain that way. But yeah, I just kind of almost look at it like the slate kind of needs to be wiped clean. I agree with you. Getting the lawsuits out of the way was the best thing that the PGA Tour has done. That kept us afloat, in my opinion, getting rid of the lawsuits. But I'm almost like, man, can we just wipe the slate clean? Can we let the leaders of each of these two leagues go off somewhere else and let other people take over and try to forge a deal that's best for everybody? Because golf is suffering. I mean, it's like last week that, ratings are way down across the board, and that's bad for professional golf. And a good friend of mine said, golf's not big enough for a civil war. And that is actually, that's really a smart statement.
That's a great point. And a friend of mine that's big in the development business, big in golf, members of famous golf clubs that we all want to be members of, is a golf guy, as we say. He told me during the Masters, I had to turn it off because all they showed was Tiger, which is fine. And then the next thing he said, all I saw was live golfers, so I had to turn it off. Now, that was early in the week, obviously, but there is a huge group of people that no matter what has happened with golf, with live, PIF, PGA Tour, DP World Tour, they are turned off. They don't want to hear about it anymore. Even Jim Nantz on Sunday threw a line in there, something like, oh, look at this top 5 of the leaderboard, all PGA Tour players. It was a jab at the situation without coming out and saying it. But everybody's feeling it and asking about it. Sure, Scotty's on a great run. It's exciting for golf. Nelly Court is on a great run. Exciting for the LPGA. Women's golf is on a huge upswing. Women's college basketball is on a huge... Things are good. If we didn't have a controversy, just think where we would be. Yes, we would be in a much better place. Now, there are still companies, the tour is in a good position because it is still the best place to entertain for business. Nobody's changing their mind and having basketball corporate outings to entertain their clients. It's still, we'll never catch up with the NBA or the NFL in ratings and commercials, right, TV sales, but we're always going to beat them. That's what the Champions Tour is. It's corporate outings to entertain clients and 2 Pro-Ams, and we do a very good job at it. The RSM Classic, RSM wants Sea Island Resort and they want Pro-Ams. And yes, the benefit of branding is very good, but people want to come, their clients want to come to Sea Island and play with the pros and enjoy a nice resort. That's not going to go away. But the prize money to play in those may go down if we don't do something. So the players need to be really aware of they're playing a dangerous game. And if we don't get it all back together and get the controversy out of the way, so sponsors aren't wondering what's going to happen. My sponsor's wondering what's going to happen in 25
because like I said, you don't know, and you were as connected as anybody from the player side. You've been on the board for 20 years, know everybody. And so that's kind of disconcerting, seeing it like that. Like, it is disconcerting seeing pro golf like it is right now. But you said a good point, like the Champions Tour, that is the one highlight of the Champions Tours. You're right. If you want to go play with a pro, in a Pro-Am, the Champions Tour is the best place to go because the cost is less, and you've probably heard of the guy. And most guys that play the Champions Tour take time to meet all the guys they're playing with, maybe have lunch with them after, or, a beer if you're done late in the day or something. And man, when you're on the regular tour, your job is to do your part, play in the Pro-Am, but as soon as it's over, you got to get back on your own schedule, on your own timeline. And that, if you're not a player, you don't necessarily understand that, but you have to do that. So that was just kudos to the Champions Tour. It's much more entertaining for one-on-one because guys are all kind of laid back. We're not playing for that much money. Those days are gone. So
laid back and in a good mood. That's the Champions Tour.
Generally in a better mood. So like RSM, like you said, they've got to be wondering. All the sponsors have got to be wondering. And anyway, that's kind of what I was saying. I almost feel like let's get some new voices as our leaders, both sides, the PIF or the Live League and the tour, and just try to somehow work out an amicable solution because it's just terrible for golf.
Right.
At the professional level.
Without getting behind the scenes in the tour's business, that's what this committee, led by some PGA Tour player board members, Adam Scott, Patrick Cantlay, but with some guys that had just gone off the board like me and Charlie Hoffman. We set up our board for the future to run differently. Player directors have a little bit more voice, which means the players have more voice. Right. And then the nice thing about the way it's turned out with the investment in a new for-profit business is we have some really smart guys that run sports leagues, the Fenway Sports Group from the Northeast, with the Boston Red Sox and all their investments in sports. And then Arthur Blank, who luckily is a good friend of mine that owns the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta United, is invested in PGA Tour Superstores, is invested in the new Tiger Rory League. We have people now, a different business leadership group that is running the for-profit side and influential on the 5013, whatever it is, nonprofit that is the PGA Tour Inc. So yes, that is what has happened. Is our board has changed dramatically. Tiger is on the board of the tour as a player director, not voted in by the players, but placed there by the players.
Right.
Hey, we don't like the direction this is going. We're putting our guy in there. We've made some great changes behind the scenes that give the players a little bit, not control, but a little bit more voice. as I've said to Jay Monahan, we don't want to run the tour. We just want a bunch of guys giving input to tell you how we want the tour run. And then we want you to go do it. So hopefully we're headed in the right direction from a structure. The market's going to determine the rest of it, right? Going forward. Maybe once this whole PIF thing goes away, the market can take back over. But you're right. In the long run, we have to clean up our act so that sponsors know what they're buying in for, whether it's FedEx or a smaller sponsor like RSM on the other end of the spectrum. They want some certainty in the market, and we need to give them that.
Right. All right. Well, enough of the tour business. I want to ask you something. What do you think about the ball rollback that is in process of being implemented?
Well, you and I sitting around at Senior Opens or wherever we've been having dinner, we've talked about all these subjects a lot. So I'm coming around on the rollback. If it's for everybody, if it was bifurcated, which is a word I didn't know 5 years ago, if the rules are separated just for the high level competition and then everybody else plays another rule, nobody wins in that, especially the manufacturers, So I could maybe be convinced if the ball rolls back for everybody, but to me, the simpler solution is to change the driver in the 3-wood, the metal woods. If there's no jump face in the metal woods, most of the members that I'm looking out the window at Sea Island watching them play, they're not going to be affected if you take trampoline effect out of a driver, because 100%. Their swing speed is 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. But when you get to 115 and then 120 and 125, that trampoline effect is exponentially more. And
no doubt.
The reason why Bryson or Drew Love have to have a bunch of driver heads is because, like a coat hanger, if you just keep bending it, eventually it'll break. Well, the driver, when you trampoline it as much as those guys do at that speed, eventually it breaks. So they're getting more benefit. I'm cruising it at 112 club head speed. I'm not getting a whole lot of trampoline effect, but Drew Love at 125 is getting a lot. And it's not just 12 miles an hour more distance, it's exponentially more. So anyway, I'd be for the driver first. Let's try that. The manufacturers sell a bunch more drivers after year 25 or 8 or whatever. And then if that doesn't work, then go to the golf ball. But, we're designing golf courses, renovating golf courses. Which way do we go? Do we go longer? Or do we go the same? I was going to
ask you that. I mean, so we're kind of in limbo on that too, but because you don't know, should I keep building back tees? But guys are always going to continue to hit it further. But I always kind of think back, Davis, to you and John Daly kind of got screwed by metal woods and equipment because you guys hit it 300 yards with the old stuff that by today's standards was horrible. And then all of a sudden the ball changes, the metal wood heads change. They start finding this relationship like you were just talking about between the ball and the club head. And now all of a sudden everybody hits it 300 yards. So I've always felt bad for you in that way because a long time ago you used to hit it 300 yards with a wooden club. And that was way more impressive than these guys hitting all this souped up equipment today.
Well, I was lucky, like Jack Nicklaus, that I had a great teacher that told me to swing for the fence when I was a little kid, and then we'd figure out how to straighten it out later. We built a big wide swing on purpose, and now you look at these kids, now they're coming up with the TrackMan and video and force plates and all this stuff, and they're doing the things that only a few teachers, Harvey Penick, Davis Love, Jack Grout, a few of them were doing way back then. Right. I remember my dad putting Beth Daniel on 2 bathroom scales to show her where her weight balance was way before force plates and computers. So now all these kids, I watch it. I watch Randy Myers, our trainer, take a 10-year-old and teach him how to push off the ground and put a cable around him and turn through it. So they're being trained to do the things, you're right, that Jack Nicklaus did as a kid. but everybody's doing it, and they're Aberg size, and they're
Right.
Patton Kazire size, and Hudson Swafford, Harris
Yeah.
English size. They're big kids that are taught to hit it a long way. So it's not all technology. It's training in the gym. It's TrackMans. It's a lot of things that make them hit it long, but it's impressive. the game, you and I thought we were long. You were long when it was windy and the fairways were firm. I was long when you had to carry it a long way, and now they just blow it by that. Everybody does.
Yeah. Everybody's long. Yeah, it is amazing. It's very similar. The technique and everything taught is not like it's something new. It's just we know way more about it now because of advancements in all technology and learning and video and, like you said, force plates, all that. So everybody kind of wants to make you think they came up with a new, this is the new way to do it. Well, it's always been there. It just hasn't been explained.
I saw a clip on Instagram of Nelly Korda. This is why her backswing's so smooth. And she was pushing a ball away from on her backswing. She was rolling it away. I go,
right.
Butch Harmon was teaching me that at Cypress Wood in Houston before anybody knew who Butch Harmon was.
I know.
He was teaching me and Greg Norman that. So
I know.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot new. It's just different ways to spread the information. And it's just, these guys go to hit balls. They don't even watch where the ball goes anymore. They have force plates and 2 TrackMans and all these things, and they just hit and look at the numbers and go, "Oh yeah, I need to turn it a little faster."
I agree. They hardly look. You're right. They hardly look at the ball. All right, I want to ask you a couple things real quick, and then I'll let you go because I know you're a busy guy. First, you had a horrible accident when your house burned down a few years back. And it was, I remember you sent me the pictures of it, and we talked quite a bit right after that. I mean, I know your attitude about it has always been great, and Robin's too. You've moved on. You're awesome. I think you're rebuilding on the same piece of property now, but maybe a different, something that you're going to be able to stay in forever. But was there one certain piece of memorabilia that was gone? Everything was gone. So is there one or two things that you missed the most?
Well, that was, believe it or not, 4 years ago now. Time has flown by.
It has.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and they're mostly based on somebody else. Robin, a month or two after, somebody saw her out, at the grocery store and talking and go, "Oh, did you get a new purse?" And Robin goes, "Yeah. Everything I've got is new. My car, my underwear, everything is new." So it's hard for people to imagine. But my mom, I loved your mom and dad, and you knew my mom and dad. And my mom needle pointed stockings first for me, then for my brother because he's younger, and then for everybody in the family, and then my kids, and then my grandkids. And those are all piled up. Luckily, I think Lexi had hers at her house. Maybe Drew had his, but they're gone, and Robin more distraught at every Christmas because we don't have Mimi's stockings. So things like that for other people. But I finished second in the Masters twice, which Aberg now has this silver tray, and it's nice, but it's a reminder that you finished second. But anyway, so a friend of Jimmy Walker's has been helping us with Ryder Cup gifts, President's Cup gifts, Silversmith from out in San Antonio. And he made these cups and other things for me that Jimmy gave me. And I had them all on a Masters second place trophy, all my Ryder Cup cups and black. So everybody always asks, if you could grab one thing and run out, what would you get? And I would say my second place platter from the Masters. They go, "Why would you get that?" Because all my Clint Orms cups and stuff were sitting on it. I'd have balanced it and run out. But we literally ran out of that house in our underwear from bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're lucky to get out.
Yeah.
There's so many, like you said, you should always have a glass half full. My granddaughters have been spending every night with us during COVID. And that night, Robin said, no, we need a break. Y'all all go home. Poppy's got a lot to do tomorrow. We need a break. And thankfully, there weren't little girls and babies in the house that we had to get out of the house. So, I spent a lot of time with Bob Rotella. He was very helpful with that. We've had, unfortunately, starting with my dad in a plane crash, we've had a lot of crazy tragedies happen in our lives. And without Bob, without guys like Stephen Bunn from College Golf Fellowship that, is our basically our pastor on the PGA Tour. Without people like that, you couldn't have gotten through it. I give Robin a lot of credit. A lot of ladies would have crawled under a rock, and we all have a bad day. But she's
not Robin Love.
Not Robin. She's moving
Robin
forward.
Love's not crawling under any rock. I could just see her answering when someone asks her if she's a new person.
Well,
she goes,
little things. Last night we're walking Drew Love's dog down the road, and she smelled a fire, which was probably somebody's fire pit, but you could just tell that she got the willies. So it'll never go away. It's like losing a family member, that the memories and the tragedy never goes away. But now they're good memories. We're building a house. The little girls are involved and watching it go up, and they're excited. And what I told Robin, and she's proven this, I said, it doesn't matter the house and the things. Your friends, your family, they want to be with you, not at your house. And so we've bought a house and moved out of it. We're in a rental house. Wherever she goes, no matter how small the pool is, the little girls want to be in the pool with her. And so anyway, we're counting our blessings rather than looking back and trying to move forward.
Well, and I know that about you. And it was, I still, just because we're friends, I still feel horrible about all that happened, but y'all have definitely moved on. But and moved on in the proper way. I mean, you and Robin are great role models, not only for golfers and golf family stuff, but just in general. Just my opinion.
Well, thank you.
But I think I'm right.
We've had great leaders, that's for sure. Family.
And then I just wanted to bring up one more thing before I let you go. I don't want to talk you out, but you were kind enough to invite me to your little hunting camp last fall, Copeland Hall, where you have the greatest equipment in the world. You have all these tractors, you got four-wheelers, you got deer and turkey and pigs everywhere. Coolest place, kind of in the South Georgia swamp. And you got nice little cabins. That's got to be your ultimate safe space for you and Robin, isn't it?
Yeah, we love it. Planning around turkey season right now. She's wanting to go down there this weekend. We're babysitting the granddaughters a little bit, but we're trying to get down there one night. Yeah, it's a getaway. It's become a family place now. The kids tell me when they're going to use it when I can't come because they're grown-ups now. But it's a cool place. And a little over a year ago, I sold a chunk of it to Brian Harmon. So we're partners. He bought 900 acres from me. He's a great neighbor because he likes to get rid of the hogs. And he's cleaning up.
He's a pretty good golfer too. So that always helps.
Hey, he bought a piece of our farm and he won a major right after. So one, he needed to pay for it, and two, it must have been good for his brain. But
it had to be.
We love going. Fred Couples came and toured around there one time and stayed a night, and he goes, "Can I buy like 2 acres in the corner? This is the nicest place." And you and I, we've hunted together, way back in '86 in Abilene, going to shoot doves. We love that getaway. But again, it's the hunting part of it's great, but the family time, the memories. And again, back to the fire, that was our refuge. We could go to a place where we were lucky. I had stuff in storage in Idaho from a house we had sold. I had stuff at this farm that was family pictures. Actually, we had clothes there. We had paintings there that could make you feel like you still had some of your stuff. But it's the first thing people think of. I was explaining to the little girls the other day why it's called Copeland Hall. There's a swamp called Copeland, and there's a swamp called Hall, and it's Copeland Hall. And so it's now the next generation, which is hard to believe. We're bringing up another generation of little woods girls, that like playing, like looking for fat lighter, like picking up pine cones, like going around and watching the baby turkeys. So it is a refuge. And you know what, though? You and I both came up admiring Jack Nicklaus, not just as a golfer and Barbara Nicklaus, but as a role model, because they did real things with their kids. They took them hunting. Right. They took them fishing. They went to every basketball game and volleyball game. And now they have, I think, 100 grandkids, and they're still doing the same thing. And he was the best golfer ever of our generation. At the same time, he was a real dad and father and business guy. So anyway, we love our hunting place. And it might have hurt my golf game a little bit, but it probably helped my brain a lot.
It definitely helped your brain. Did you ever get your new tractor working the way you wanted it to work? You were plowing a field when I was there.
We are long on green John Deere tractors right now, and they all run very well. I'm learning, and I have a bunch of yellow cat stuff too. We have a little land clearing business that I get employee of the month every year in our land clearing business because I own all the.
Exactly.
They do all the work, but I own all the equipment. So in our golf course design as well, like we're getting ready to start a short course for Hazeltine, and I'm gonna rent my own bulldozer so I can have it for a week, so I don't have to steal the construction company's bulldozer. But we love playing in the dirt, no matter what it is. Building golf courses, hunting. I love fishing because I love putting together all the equipment and cleaning the boat and taking care of it. So, you know me, if I'm not playing golf, then I get really busy.
Yeah, well, I love it. I think that's one reason we've been friends for so long. And because we both like, if you're not playing golf, we still like being outside. Like you said, getting your hands dirty, playing in the dirt. But Davis, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I think hopefully I'll get you back on again soon, because we have so many things that we could talk about that we didn't even touch. But pulling hard for you to heal up from your thumb surgery, get the other one done, and maybe our paths will meet in a year or two where we're both actually healthy enough to play decent golf, and we'll get to give it a run.
I'm shooting for one of our favorite events in North Carolina in October, so hopefully we're both back playing by that time of year. Try to make the playoffs.
Well, if we're both back in good shape, then that's a possibility. All right, Davis, have a great day. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. And that's a wrap. That wraps another episode of the Scott Verplank Show. Follow and subscribe to this channel and visit selloutcrowd.com for upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching.